What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Montana Method Podcast. Your host is always Nelson Rodriguez Jr., creator, author of Montana Method. Today, I have two very special guests, two for the price of one. Got the world famous Pikachu dog, Zaza,
Zaza, say hi.
from
please.
world famous Pups, and the CEO and owner and founder of world famous Puppies, Mr. Eric Torres. Great to have him in the building.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course, brother. We're gonna have a hell of an episode today. Zaza's gonna be front and center, the star of the show. What's up, people? World famous Pikachu dog. We have the first ever live caught Pokemon in history. This is a historic episode of Montana Method. We're gonna get into the story of world famous Puppies, how Eric founded it. I've heard part of it already, and it's pretty crazy. So get strapped in. As you know, I love good stories. We're gonna get into it. So Elijah, kick the intro.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.
Eric, welcome to the show. Great to have
Thank
you in the
thank
building.
thank you.
Great to have Zaza here. Zaza, que vuelta, serie? What's up, people? This is the coolest dog I've ever met in my life. He's chill, don't bother nobody, very obedient. Did you train him?
I've been training him.
He's
I've
pretty
been-
well trained.
I've been training him the times that we've been together, you know. Yeah, I've been training him.
Yeah, he's pretty. I noticed he's over. You tell him to sit, he sits.
Yeah,
comes,
he
goes, you know?
does. He sits. He's very obedient. He's very smart.
You don't need a leash. You don't need any of that stuff with him. He's pretty.
No, yeah, he's pretty cool. I mean, I guess sometimes I don't notice, right? Because I'm with him all the time, so
Right.
it's like, damn. But yeah, I guess he is pretty obedient, and he does listen. A lot of things that I learned when I used to train my other dog.
Mm.
So I guess it just followed on to him.
How long have you So you've had him since he was born?
No, I got him. I bought him in Korea.
Holy shit!
Yeah, so
okay,
he's Korean.
that's cool.
I had somebody go over to Korea and pick him up. Basically, that's the story.
That's an expensive dog, boy.
Yeah. It was pretty expensive trip and a dog, and yeah, it was. Well, let me tell you, now it was well worth it.
Of course, with the results
Ideally,
he's
yeah,
giving you.
the results he's giving me is amazing. He's an amazing dog. I guess it was destined for him to be famous. Honestly.
For sure.
Yeah.
sure. So are Pomeranians Korean?
Not all.
Okay.
Not all Pomeranians. This is a Korean teacup Pom. It's a little bit different. But you have American Poms, you have Chinese Poms. It all depends on their hair coat. The Koreans are a little bit more fluffier. They're smaller. Their nose, their snout is a lot smaller too. Most Pomeranians have longer legs. They got long snouts, so that's why I chose a Korean teacup, because it's like that perfect little dog.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, he only weighs 4 pounds, 3 pounds.
Yeah, he's
It's
tiny.
funny because people think he's so big, but last week I took him out on the jet ski and I had him inside the little cup, the thing that where you put all your stuff in the jet ski.
in the front.
And he makes his own bed inside, so so it was pretty cool.
So you literally take them everywhere. Everywhere.
I used to take him out a lot more. I used to take him out a lot more when I first painted him and stuff like that. He used to be all over the place, But then I had a friend of mine who's in the industry, in the music industry. He told me, Eric, just take him out when necessary.
Right.
Don't expose him that much, because then they're gonna be like, oh, he's not famous. So, so then I've been holding him back a little bit. It sucks because he's my best friend. It's a man's best friend for real. I stick behind that, and yeah, I mean, I'm always with him, and but yeah, I've been keeping him home a little bit lately.
Yeah, he's a special dog. I mean, I got a taste of it the other day when I first met you. That we were over there at Chili's. We walked in there and it was crazy. Like, we got approached every three. Ruben was like, "Watch, what you're gonna watch? I'm telling you, I'm warning you. Watch, this is gonna get nuts." Every 5 seconds, somebody, "Can I take a picture of the dog? Oh, can I hold the dog for a second? Oh my god!" Everybody goes crazy when they see this guy.
It's crazy because even when he's hiding, right? Like he was
Yeah.
hiding. You don't remember
When the waitress saw,
he was sitting and people still came around. Like, how'd you know he was here? You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to come see the dog. So even when he's hiding, a lot of people don't even recognize that he's real. You know, they think I'm holding a stuffed animal. I'm like, no, mama, baba, I'm too old to be holding a stuffed animal. That's the honest truth.
So, bro, you've told me a little bit about how you founded the company and the journey and the trajectory and the crazy story of everything that's happened. At Montana Method, this is what I'm about. I'm about finding these incredible stories and bringing them to the world. So I'm excited for you to share this on my show. So
Thank you.
let's start off with a little bit of a background on you, and then we'll get into how you got into the puppy business. So you're born and raised in Miami?
Born and raised in Miami, Dade County, 305 boy. I was born and raised in Overtown.
Okay.
I was born in the projects. My stepdad used to work in the projects.
Okay.
As he worked for HUD. I lived there till I was about 5, and then from 5 I went. We moved to North Miami Beach. So I was in NMB, which is pretty tough for me. You know, back in those days it was tough.
Yeah, because you're not down south over here with all the Hispanic kids.
Yeah,
you know,
no.
big
I was,
change.
you know, back then racism was very strong.
Yeah.
You know, it was you weren't like what they have today. Like, oh, you're a Chico. No,
Right.
you're either white or black. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I was in the white category, and there was only like 2 of us.
Right.
You know, so it was tough. It was a tough upbringing in the neighborhood, but you know, I'm here now, and thanks to everything I went through in my past, you know, has made me built, you know, tough like a fort. You know what I mean? So it was tough. I mean, listen, when I my first day in kindergarten, I got in a fight.
That's crazy.
Yeah, over a chair. You know, I'd never forget. It was 5 years old, man. I walked into kindergarten class, Reynolds Park, and I got in a fight with this kid named Terry. And it was because I remember my mom walked me into the school, and she walked me inside, and hey, I met the teacher for the first time. I mean, man, I remember that day like it was 10 days ago. And I was like, man, I want to sit in the front. You know, as a kid, I was like, man, I want to be the front. I want to learn all. I want to, you know, but it didn't turn out that way. You know, It turned out where, you know, I got hit in the back of the head for taking the chair. And I said, oh, this ain't going to be fun school, you know? So that's basically it, man. I had a very tough upbringing, neighborhoods I grew up with and on the weekends, I used to come Southwest, you know? So I had my Southwest friends in the Gables and stuff like that. But Monday through Friday, you know, we had to kind of thug it out. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what I've been through, you know, growing up in neighborhoods like that. And then that's basically it.
That's dope. Yeah, I can relate, definitely. I've been through, you know, didn't have much money growing up.
Hey,
so
listen,
yeah.
When I was 13, 12, you know, my parents didn't have no money. My dad doesn't have no money. My mom ain't got no money, you know. You know, my mom used to collect a disability check for me because she used to put me in the crazy hospital, say I was crazy, so she could get a couple bucks to survive. You know what I mean? So we didn't have no money. But one of the things that I remember the most is how I used to have to wait for a friend of mine's to, you know, get rid of his new Nikes, you know, so I could slip them on and say, man, I actually got a pair of Nikes. So, you know, it's rough, man. It was a rough upbringing, and you know, it sucks to be poor. That's why I strive so hard doing what I do best, because every time I look back, those memories always give me a backflash. 100%. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, that's basically it.
There's an interesting statistic in the United States. The 85% of millionaires are self-made, meaning they didn't come from money. They themselves created that wealth, that business, or whatever made them wealthy, and it's that motivation from having that crazy upbringing as a kid, like of not knowing what poverty is kind of what gave all of them the motivation to become a wealthy person.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, I completely agree, you know. And I think it's also something you're born with,
Right.
too. You know, I think it's a gift. I mean, when I was a kid, believe it or not, I used to steal candy from 7-Eleven to sell it in school because at the end of the lunch line, I remember they used to sell cookies for 25 cents. I ain't have money to buy a cookie. You know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of figure it out, you know? And, you know, the crowd that I hung out with, it wasn't by choice, you know? So, you know, I had to kind of steal my way in, you know, and I had to go to 7-Eleven. I remember I used to take lollipops, bazookas, which are these, you know, little gums, and I used to sell them at school. My lollipops was my hit, you know, because I used, you know, sell them for 25 cents. I used to buy my cookies. I never drank milk because I was allergic to milk when I grew up. And I was able to buy orange juice from the other guys and stuff like that. So I think the hustle came from me from the beginning. You know what I mean? And that was it. I used to be the candy guy, you know?
There was always a candy kid in school, always just selling.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I got lollipops, I got cookies, I got Oreos,
Hey,
I got. You know?
I got lollipops. One day I got jumped in a bathroom for my candies. And no, it was tough, man. I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. I never remember. It was I think I was in I don't know. I was like in third grade, fourth grade, something like that. I used to park my bike at the bike rack, and I used to I used to park my bike, put the chain
put
on
the
it,
lock on,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, we put the lock on it, and one day I pull up to the lock, and I seen this guy, you know, with dreads. His name was Pico. They call him Hypico. You know, he was like thug of the school. He was like a sixth grader, thug, gangster, grilled out, the whole shebang. And he tells me, I go back there, and he tells me, yo, man, he says, I said, man, where's my bike? He says, oh, that was your bike? I said, yeah, that's my bike. He says, oh, you got to come fight for it. And I said, oh, damn, man, goddamn. Now, mind you, I grew up in a very hard home, man. You know, my stepdad was very abusive with me and my mom. So if I didn't get an ass whooping at home, I was gonna get jumped in school. You know what I mean? So it was like, and that day I said, man, if I let this guy steal my bike, I'm gonna get fucked up when I get home. And I never forget, it was a brown 10-speed bike. It was a brown 10-speed bike, and he made me walk to the alley. And here we go again, man. When I walked down that alley, there was like 20 motherfuckers over there. And they said, you got to fight this guy. And I said, well, this is how it's going to go down. Let's go. And we had to rumble. Luckily, I beat the shit out of him. I remember I threw him against the garbage can. Bam, bam, started hitting him. Boom, 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 boom. They gave me my bike back, and the next day I went to school. Everybody knew about the fight. Everybody knew I stood up for my bike. So what happened was, as a kid, internally, you know, who I am as a human, I'm a great human being, man. I'm a humble guy. I'm a very loving and caring person. That's who I am inside, you know what I mean? But sometimes you have to camouflage with your surroundings, you know? And damn, I lost my thought. But
sometimes you have to blend in with your surroundings. Meaning
Yeah.
you have to transform into what's around you to survive. You know.
you had to, you know? And that next day, there we go. That next day I came to school, and everybody knew and everybody respected me. So I said, hold on. This is the way I got to act. I got to act tough. If I act tough, it's going to be all good. These people are going to respect me. I'll never get jumped again. And this is the way that it's going to be. I had to create a character. Right? And it was a defense mechanism that I was creating that I saw that worked. So now I'm like, listen, man, I'll fight anybody. You know, because now I see that this is the way out. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that kind of carried on through elementary all the way to middle school. I'm not a big fighter, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, if you got to defend yourself, you got to defend yourself. But that's not my thing. I'm not into abuse. I don't like, you know, we'll talk about that. I don't like being kids, being picked on, which later on, in my school years, I became this person that was tough, that, was like, yo, this guy don't care, if he lives or dies, which that's kind of what mentally how I lived my life. Cause the abuse at home was so bad that it was like, man, I don't know, bro. I'd rather just be dead, bro. Because, I didn't socialize with kids after school till I was about 12 or 11. My stepdad wouldn't let me come out the house. So there was no riding around in bicycles. It was just 3:30. My mom would say, eat, go to your room, lock yourself in there. And I would just go crazy. You know what I mean? I'd just wander inside my room and watch, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and, bop my head like if I was Will Smith. I was going crazy, bro. I was in confinement, man, all my life. And it was tough. It was tough. It was a tough upbringing. It was tough, and it's still, I carry it in my heart because it was that tough,
Yeah, there's something about going through those things as a kid that just gives you. I follow this guy named Alex Hermosi. And he said something. The right amount of trauma, like if you have too much trauma, it disables you, it cripples you, right? But if you have no trauma and you have no difficulty, no adversity in your life, then you have no motivation to really change, right?
That's correct.
There's something about an individual that goes through a certain amount of things in life and has a certain amount of adversity that gives them the fuel to push forward.
It's funny that you say that because I do that intentionally to myself to reprogram my mind. And that's what I think makes me a very successful person. I'll if I have a certain amount of money, I'll spend it. I'll put myself in the worst positions because what it does is it brings me back to my focus mode. You know what I mean? You can't be stable all the time, man. You can't you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. I'm a risk taker, so I mean, recently I did some crazy changes, like drastically, and it was really because I was bored. I closed my store down. People think I'm crazy, man, but I'm not. I just do things because I need to do things and put myself in a position that's going to make me reactivate again.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't take a hustle out of a hustler. There's just no way, But I've learned that. I've taught myself that, like, hey, Eric, listen, you bullshitting. You know what I'm saying? You need to wake up. And sometimes we as humans, no matter who we are, we get too comfortable. We kind of like, we just, we lay in the couch and just let it sink 100%. Us in. And you can't, because then you kind of lose the momentum.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you on that. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I tell you from experience, I tend to do my locuras like that, 100%. But it works. It works.
It does.
It does work.
100%. All righty, guys. So we're going to hear from our first sponsor really quick. We'll take a quick break, and we will be right back with World Famous Puppies. Ladies and gentlemen, the familiar voice of your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., taking a quick detour to talk to you about the best jewelry shop on the internet, Gus Villa Jewelry. Let's be honest here, guys. Jewelers in Miami are super shady sometimes. I've even been ripped off once or twice by one of these self-proclaimed alchemists that ended up being these weirdos who sell you a bunch of stuff that make your neck and your fingers turn black. Let me tell you, after I met my boy, Gus Villa, he elevated my bling game. The Gus Villa team, these guys are more than just jewelers. These guys are magicians, turning metal and stone into your next head turner. Trust me, these pieces shine so much you can see them from outer space. Head over to GusVillaJewelry.com, and because you're a Monty, that's right, part of the Montana Method crew, you can use the promo code Montana to snatch 5% off your order. You don't just get hooked up with some shine, you get to have some dough in your pocket. Double whammy. So guys, what are you waiting for? Elevate your jewelry game. Show the world what you got. You got some style, you got some bling, you're all blinged up. Come on back after you do that. We've got more Montana Method Madness waiting for you. Now back to the podcast. So Eric, on to the reason we're here, right? To talk about how this company got founded and the cool way it came together and the hustle and the grind and the grit that's behind it that I find pretty inspiring. So, you know, you and me have something in common. I had my run in with the law. I went to prison. I did my whole thing. Everybody knows my past. I'm pretty open about it. So after you get out, I remember you were back at your mom's house and you were kind of like trying to figure out what to do with your life.
Yeah.
Let's go from there.
I got out. I got out of prison in 2020, January 9th of 2020. Before I went to prison, I was manufacturing supplements for a few years.
That's right. You told me you had a manufacturing company.
Yeah, and I manufactured supplements for a few years. And when I went to prison, I was honestly, man, I was like, to be honest with you, man, because I'm like a brainiac, bro. All I do is think. And I think about the future, and I'm like 10 years ahead of myself. You know what I mean? And then I tend to focus 10 years ahead and work my way back. Right. And then try to reach those 10 years, you know? But I try to do it as fast as possible, you know? So I'm like, well, how can I get to that 10-year goal without that time? So while I was in prison, you know, I walked every day, bro. And I always talked about the dogs. And I said, well, ideally, the idea was to manufacture dog products.
Okay.
Right? I said,
so that's where the idea to get into the pet industry started?
Yeah, well, no, the idea really came. I was at a trade show in Las Vegas with one of my sales reps, and he told me, man, Eric, he says, man, you're really good at what you do. And I said, yeah. He says, man, you think this is money? Now, mind you, we closing deals for like 2 million deals, you know, $2 million, and sending fucking protein to Algeria and Morocco and shit like that. And I say, yeah. He said, man, you should look into the dog industry, to the pet industry, really. And I said, man, I said, I told myself, I don't even like dogs. That was the truth. I was like, I don't like dogs. And it wasn't that I didn't like dogs. It's just that I just didn't have time to take care of a dog. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work. 100%. So it's like taking care of a child. I mean, I got Zaza here. This guy is my child. I got to worry about if he drinks, if he eats or whatever. But, yeah, to make a long story short, I got out, and I got a friend. He got me a job at Kiki's. I worked at Kiki's. I worked at Kiki's as a dock master, but I had this my mind of the dogs and, you know, the products, and I'm gonna build a factory and da da da. It was funny because a lot of people laughed at me. Listen, man, a lot of people say don't tell people what you do or what you want to do. That's a damn lie. You need to tell the earth and all the energies out there what you want to attract in your life. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that I do. I might tell you things that I do, and you might be like, man, tú estás loco, man. You're crazy. And I say it because I believe it, and when I believe it, I make it come through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because once I got the vision, then you can't get me out. You know, so then what happened was my daughter wanted a dog, and I had saved up some money working, and the dog cost me $5,000. And Andy, if you're out there and you watch this goes back to the first guy that I bought the dog from. Now you really know the secrets. So I found this guy on Craigslist, and this was like, I think March, the pandemic hit. I mean, March. So maybe like April or May or June is when I started. And I bought this dog. So I call this guy. I say, hey, man, what I want to buy this dog. It's for my daughter. But at the same time, I'm trying to make a business out of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm looking for a female dog. He's like, yeah, 5,000. You could get her pregnant and this and that. And I was like, man, all right, I could make some money at least. I still got this job. I said, maybe this might be the way. So I tell him, all right, so I want to buy the dog. He says, all right, well, I'll call you when it gets here next week.
Okay.
So then come next week, I came, the week came, and he says, hey, meet me up at the airport. So I'm like, all right, meet you at the airport. He says, yeah, the dog's coming from, I don't know, someplace in Europe. And I was like, all right, I'm on my way. So when I get there, He has a bunch of dogs. This guy's got a brand new truck. I just got out. I'm like, man, what the fuck's going on here? You know what I mean? What's this guy doing? And I saw like maybe, I don't know, 20 dogs in kennels. So it just so happens that I grabbed my phone, right? And it was really like a surprise, like, oh my God, I'm going to see this dog. So I grabbed the phone, I recorded the kennel into the cage. And he's like, hey man, don't record. And I see him take a sticker off of the kennel. So, now he's got me wondering, like, hold on, why he took the sticker off? But the guy me cayó muy bien,
Right.
So I didn't want to like, but it kept me intrigued. Like, why the hell did this guy take the sticker off? So that same night, I got home. I take the dog to my mom's house. I'm like, baby, look, I got you the dog. It's so cute, da 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 da. And she loved the dog, and I felt proud. But now I start wondering, and I say, hold on. Let me go back. It was like 2 a.m. I tend to stay up all night. I barely sleep. I've been up. As a matter of fact, I don't know what time. It's 12 o'clock. I've been up since 2, and just brainstorming. I brainstorm. I'll start brainstorming, and well, to make a long story short, that night, I said, man, let me replay this video. And I played it, and I rolled it back, and I played it, and I rolled it back, and I played it, and boom, I saw the sender's number, the information of the sender. So I'm like, let me grab this. Sorry, Andy, if you watch this, man, but geez, I had to say the truth because, Nelson's telling me to say the truth on the podcast. So I go and I went and I got on Facebook and I started looking the guy up and I found him. I said, oh, dog breeder, I don't know what. So I was like, oh, shit. Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Right.
So I didn't message that guy, but I went after all the people that followed him and people that commented. So then I said, all right, these people speak another language. They're out of Ukraine.
Right.
They speak a whole different language, and I got to see what I do about this. So I start, adding friends, and start, tapping into the market and looking to see who's who and the relationships they have. And I started doing my research. But what happened was that the next morning, after doing my research, I could barely sleep because I'm like, man, I think I struck gold. In my head, I'm just like, man, this can't be true. So I went the next morning, and the same place where I picked up the dogs, I walked inside the cargo place, and I played the role. I told the guy, oh, man, listen, you know what? I came to pick up my dog yesterday. I lost my paperwork, I don't know if you remember me. But he's like, no, I don't remember you. I'm a very social bug. I'm a social bug. I like people. I know how to talk to them. And I'm like, oh, by the way, he says, oh, let me find the paperwork. And like, ahí bien, everything was cool. And we were cool. So, make a long story short, I told him, hey, man, by any chance, do you know, like, can you give me some people that send dogs that send dogs every week? So in my head, I'm like, I need somebody who's trustworthy enough that if I send them this money, they're gonna send me the right dog back.
Right.
I'm gonna roll it. But I always said, I'm a risk taker, bro. I risk it all. My motto is as long as we live in a country where I'll never live, I will always have a roof and I will always have food, and God bless America for that. So I risk it all. And he gave me a few people. So I grabbed the list that he gave me and I started matching it up to the guy on Facebook. And, I started seeing the people that were sending dogs every week and, okay, who's the biggest guy who sends a dog and blah, blah, blah. So I found the guy. I hit him up on Facebook Messenger and we just, hey, man, do you have a dog? So remember, I paid $5,000 for the dog.
Right.
But the businesses was selling dogs pregnant. So he tells me, yeah, man, I have the dog. And I paid $5,000. So I said, hey, do you have any pregnant dogs? And I had to use a translator. He says, yeah, I have like 4. And I said, oh, okay, I want one. He says, how much? I say, he tells me, no, $2,500. $2,500 pregnant? He says, yeah, $2,500. I was like, oh, okay. I said, all right. I said, when can you send me one? He says, oh, just give me your information. I'll send it to you next week. Man, I got my last $2,500, went to TD Bank, deposit the money, and send it right over. Next week, I got my pregnant dog. You know, I'm a marketer. I do online marketing, Facebook, Instagram. Don't go beyond that. So I got into a Facebook page, and I put the dog up for sale, a pregnant French bulldog. Her name was Sky. And she had 4 puppies. I sold her for $10,000. Wow. So I called the guy back. It took me like a few days. I called the guy back, and I'm like, hey, man, you got another one? He says, yeah, I got like 2 more. I said, listen, send me 2. So
you doubled down.
Yeah, I doubled down quick. So he sends me 2 for $5,000. I sell them for 20. So I call the guy back, and now I tell him I'm trying to push my limits. I'm like, hey, man, I need like 5 of these dogs. He says, I got 7. I said, well, send me the 7. I paid the guy the money. Mind you, I've never seen this guy. I mean, I don't know him.
But he's coming through, so.
But he's coming through. Yeah. Next week, 7. Some guy calls me, and on Facebook, boom, 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 I start taking pictures, He's like, hey, man, some hood-ass dude from Georgia. He says, hey, man, I see you got them dogs. I said, yeah, I got the dogs. He said, yeah, man, I want them all. And I said, man, God. He said, man, that's, how much you want for them? I said, I want 11,000. He says,
11,000 each.
11,000 each.
Okay.
I said, yeah, man, I got some really, really nice dogs. I said 11,000 each. Now, mind you, this is my 3rd week doing this. He says, all right, meet me halfway. I said, what you mean halfway? He says, yeah, I'm in Georgia. I said, where in Georgia? I mean, you could be in the South Point, Georgia. He says, no, I'm in Atlanta. I said, so what's halfway to you? He says, Ocala. I said, fuck. And I never forget, it was 9 o'clock at night. I get to the spot at 3 in the morning. And I was by myself. I have the pictures on my phone of how I had this little car I bought for like $500. And I was rolling around with the 7 dogs, and I'm like, bro, this is hit or miss right here. You know what I mean? If this guy's, he could rob me. So he makes me wait him at a gas station.
He could just leave you hanging and not show up. So many things can happen.
También. But I knew he was already on his way.
Because he texted you or whatever, yeah.
So when I get there, he makes me stop at a gas station that was closed. No lights, no gas, no nothing. I'm like, man, I got all these dogs in here. Yeah. I got no more money in my pocket. I literally had no more money.
It was literally, I have to sell these dogs or...
Bro, I don't know what I'm going to do, So, make a long story short, he gets there with another homeboy of his, and I'm just like, coño, yeah, take the dogs out, con tremenda guapería, on some shit, you know what I mean? I'm like, man.
That's some shit out of a movie.
Yeah.
Pop the trunk.
I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll take the dog out. So, boom, boom, and I start taking the dog out, and, bro, the guy keeps me there for 2 hours. Looking at the dogs, debating with his boy, walking to the bag, this and that. I'm like, coño, man. I'm here like, what the fuck is going to happen? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And, make a long story short, I see him going around the driver's seat, and I see him grab something. I said, oh, shit, this shit about to go down. So when he comes up, he puts the money in the passenger seat. He said, here's 60. I remember he gave me 66,000. He said, this is what I got.
Okay. So he's trying to negotiate down.
Yeah. I got 66,000. Let me grab that, sir. Let me grab that money.
The dogs are yours.
The dogs are all yours.
Yep.
Done. I was like, I'm going to drive back to Miami.
That's crazy.
I'm going to drive back to Miami, and I'm going to take off. Now, we going hard all the way. And I called the guy back. Yo, you got more? Yeah, I got more. He didn't have more for me to buy more. He tells me, listen, man, why don't you sell some puppies?
Okay, so you started changing like
So I'm like, puppies? Man, I don't sell puppies, bro. This is better. You know what I
it's
mean?
faster. Yeah.
It's faster for me. You know, I'm making more money. And he's like, no, I could send you some puppies. So I'm like, fuck. I said, how much you gonna sell me the puppies for? He's like, well, I'll give them to you for $1,000. I said, no, $1,000.
And then you started putting it together like, oh, well, I could sell a puppy for this much. Yeah.
Then I was like, well, how much can I sell a puppy for? And he was like, no, you can sell it for like 5, 6, 7,000. And I was like, okay.
All right.
Well, then shit, send me some puppies. And he sent me some puppies. I forgot how many puppies he sent me. You know, at this point, I've already lost track because now he starts sending me puppies. He starts sending me the adult pregnant females. And I build, which one day I'll show you the whole product because I build like a little shed made out of wood. Me and my stepdad, I told him, I said, listen, man, I'll bring the dogs and you
Take care of them.
and you take care of them. And we'll work a deal out. And he says, okay, deal. So we built this little shed out of wood and we put a little AC inside and I kept the dogs in there. And from that little 4 woods that I did, I built a block building for the dogs. You know, that's how we started scaling, you know, and I was just answering calls, taking pictures and putting them on Facebook. And people were calling, yeah, I want a dog, I want a puppy. I tell the guy, hey, man, just send me the puppies. It's easier. I'm selling a whole shitload of dogs, bro. It was like a movie, man. I swear to God. So within the 7 months of me selling from the $5,000 that I had, I did $1.1 million in sales.
And this was 7 months fresh out of prison.
7 months from when I started selling the first dog. So somewhere from March to December.
And you got out in January.
And I had got out in January.
So 11 months later, 11 months after you left prison, you had cleared over $1 million.
Cleared over $1 million in cash. Taking pictures. I got pictures of me with money here. You know, bro, let me tell you, it was so crazy because I got to a point where I was selling so much dogs that I thought I was doing something bad. This guy had sent me some French bulldogs. I sold 2 of them for $50,000. Two of them for $50,000. I bought them for 10. For 10 grand. And I'm walking out my mom's house with the dogs and the money, and I'm like looking back, and I'm like, bro, you know, I thought I was selling dope, bro. I don't even sell drugs, you know. I'm just like, bro, this cannot be real. This is not real. This can't be happening to me. And then that's where, you know, the company that I had started originally, the brand was called World Famous French Bulldogs, and then World Famous Puppies came from that.
Okay, so we're talking, that's March of 2021?
That's March of 2021. Yep.
So,
no, before March of 2021. I already built the store like in November of 2020.
So December of 2020 is when you're telling me, so from March of 2020 to December of 2020 is when...
From March of 2020, exactly.
Is those 7 months.
Was those 7 months.
So this is the middle of the pandemic. Like everything's closed.
Oh, yeah.
No one's on the street.
No.
And you started the month we locked down, which was March.
Right.
That's that's wild.
No, and it started in a barbershop, the conversation too, of another guy that, you know, because every time I do business, I got to ask like 10 people. Just how like, I'll ask you, I'll ask this guy, I'll ask the other guy, I'll ask the other, and I'll round it off to the nearest 10.
Right.
Just to see the flotation. If I get into something new and I'm not really, you know...
Feeling it.
No, not even feeling it. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, bro. I mean, I don't know nothing about dogs. You know what I mean? So I had to kind of... had to figure it out, bro. Asking questions and shit. And then World Famous Puppies came to life, you know? And World Famous Puppies was another dream. I told myself, I had a friend of mine that I met working at Kiki. His name is Mike, Future Green. Shout out Future Green. That's my boy. Mike is the guy who makes all the flower walls for like Kiki on the River. So all those beautiful selfie walls, that's what he does. And we met while we were working at Kiki. So he kind of gave me ideas. Like he actually told me, he's like, Eric, I put a doghouse there. And I was like, damn, that don't sound like a bad idea, you know, because I brought him to the store. Because ideally what I want to do is steal that concept of the selfies and bring it into the dog world.
The dog world.
And I wanted to be the most viral guy in the, you know, I want people to take selfies in my store too.
Right,
you know what I mean? So he's like, oh, I'd put a doghouse there. And I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea, bro. I'd put a doghouse there too. You know? So I said, I'd put a doghouse there too. And make a long story short, I did put a doghouse. But I told him, I said, Mike, I said, man, I'm going to have celebrities in here. I'm going to have everybody rocking in this motherfucker. I told him, man, we're going to make this shit pop off. And he says, man, you world famous. You're going to make it happen. You know, and that's what it was, bro. I built this doghouse and I set this this image in my head, and there was no way of getting it out. You know, it's funny because a lot of people used to call me over there Farru. They say, oh, Farru. You know, because I have my beard, and they're like, oh, tú te pareces a Farruko. Y esto que lo otro, so me llamaban el Farru. And it's funny because one random day, right, I was with an ex-girlfriend of mine's, and this random day, Farruko shows up at the store by himself. I never called him. I never, nothing. He just literally showed up by himself. And it was funny because, people called me Farru.
Right.
I knew I was kicking ass with the branding. My first celebrity, most important person that ever contacted me was, what's this guy called? The guy from Sony that was married to Mariah Carey, Tommy Mottola.
No, that was married to Thalia.
Yeah, Tommy Mottola. So Tommy Mottola was the first person that contacted me. I was like, the fuck? Bro, Tommy Mottola. This guy's a CEO, baby. I said, God, mama, we made it. It made me feel good and proud of myself because I'm like, man, if I could captivate the eyes of a CEO, I'd captivate the eyes to anybody.
Right.
And I said, and I was like, coño, it's a beautiful feeling when people could actually see through what you see.
Right.
If they could connect with you, that's just worth more than money for me.
100%.
It's not, I don't do things for money, even though like we all do, we work for money, but I don't really do it with the intentions of getting money. A lot of my friends are like, hey man, how do I make money? Bro, you don't, bro. You have to chase the dream. There's no like, oh, I'm gonna chase the money. I had a friend of mine who asked me, he's like, bro, what I said, I threw $100 on the floor. I'm like, what you gonna do with it? If you don't got a dream, you can't do nothing with the money.
100%.
So set your, focus on what you need to do first, and then you go get the money. But you're doing the opposite.
Right. 100%.
Money is not. You're going the opposite direction.
Money is a byproduct of chasing that dream. Like once you go in the direction of a purpose and a vision, the money comes because
that's it.
Chasing the purpose and going on that journey, becoming the person worthy of accomplishing that goal is what brings the money and the results and all the stuff.
That's right.
That's just like, how medications have a side effect? The medication is supposed to cure this, but the side effect is the money. That's just a byproduct. That's going to happen anyway.
Correct.
So correct. I'm with you on that 100%.
And the money, the amount of money you make is the time and effort you put into the business.
100%.
So my theory in life is if you and I are trying to build the same company, we only live so many years in this earth, in this planet, right? So I try to take advantage of all the time that we have here. I feel like, every day, any day could be the last day. And I try to take advantage of every time. I mean, to me, sleep is not in my... I just don't. Me and sleep don't get along because I enjoy life, bro, and I enjoy the smallest things of life. And I'm sure once you've been through, all these trials and tribulations and jails and prison and fucking this and that, and bro, you enjoy everything.
100%.
I enjoy spending time here, being here with you, and this air that's, I enjoy the small stuff, bro. It's the small stuff that I really appreciate in life. Everything else is material, man. It's not.
100%.
It's not nothing.
You can't. The things you can't physically grab, or the things that are intangible, are the things that I value. I have the same mindset, like the air in my lungs, the time I spend with family, my health, my family members, right? Like the love the unconditional love between that you can't replace, and those are the things that I value in my life. Those are the things you
Well,
can't physically touch.
let me tell you, man, I got a very tough family. We don't got that type of love and connection. It's not. I don't think that it's. It's just the way my family is. I tried to be the connecting party in my family. You know what I mean? But they just don't seem to be the way I am, which sometimes you can't control it. But I've grown to understand my family, and there's no bond here, there's no love, there's no come over for my birthday, you know what I mean? And
Right.
if they do it on their own,
Mm.
Which just kind of sucks, because it's like, oh, all right, you guys have your own family, you got your own, you do your own
Right.
thing. So that's probably one something that's always bothered me, you know what I mean? I ask God all the time. I'm like, man, I'm so blessed that you made me who I am. You know what I mean? But damn, and I know life can't be perfect, bro.
Right.
You can't have the perfect wife, and you can't have the perfect life. You gotta, if he bless you with this, be like, all right, man, at least you made me successful.
100%.
And I can't have both apples. Ideally, my dream always was like, how can I have a perfect wife and a perfect life? You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's tough, when you're an ambitious human being, and you're all about your business, and it's also tough to stabilize a relationship,
100%.
because women, you guys like a flower, man. You gotta give them water, and you gotta make the flower pretty all the time.
You gotta give them sunshine, energy, time, attention.
That's all the time, but that's part of my time.
Mm.
Now you're taking away from my time of these 90 or 100 years that I have, and you're pulling me away from my dreams. So that kind of gets in the middle of me being able to settle down at some point. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Unless she's like an asset to me. You know what I
Right.
mean? If we join forces, which is what kind of happened to me when I started in this relationship, when I started in this business. I found a girl that she was, I was my mom's house with my old little beat up car, and she believed in me, and she said, I don't care if your car is beat up, I don't care, but she's beautiful, you know what I mean? Hands down, beautiful girl. I'm like, this girl could be with anybody, you know what I mean? And but she says, but I believe in you, and I admire you, and I feel that you have the potential to be somebody. And then that shit got me. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I'm like, when we live in Miami, man. Pretty girls here, they could be with whoever they want.
And it's hard to find love in this city.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It's hard. Miami is a different animal, especially with the amount of people that are moving here now, and the stuff we kind of like do with it. It's become, unfortunately, Miami has become the poster child of like that. It's becoming Hollywood, really, like of like the super hot women and the celebrities and all that stuff, and it's becoming this fake weird limbo that
No,
know.
I'm gonna tell you what's going on. They're starting to catch on to the Miami finesse game.
Right.
But what happens is that they're catching on way too late. And
100%.
that's happened to me. I'm like, Bubba, listen, I'm from here. I invented this game. You're trying to run the game on me. And it doesn't work like that, Pablo. I'm from here. You know what I mean? We started this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So it's So they're trying to run the game to somebody else, you know? They're trying to be like, all right, you come from New York or you come from Colombia or you come from here. I'm going to run the game on you. I'll brainwash you, but don't meet this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard because a lot of people that I grew up with, and I'm sure they've all left Miami. I mean,
A lot of
bro,
people.
we're like the last Mohicans, bro. We're trying to.
We're the last of a dying breed, bro. This city is dying. We were talking about it yesterday with Room, and it breaks my heart because the version of Miami that we grew up with, that we knew, is dying. And the day we have kids, well, you already have a kid. The day I have kids or whatever, they're not gonna be able to experience that anymore. You know,
The culture,
the culture, the
The-
family,
the
you know,
Miami vibe.
yeah, it's different. It's become the people that are moving here are really like treating Miami like this diamond or like some jewelry. It's a luxury, and it's something I could throw on like a nice Rolex or a hot chick. Like, I live in Miami, you know. And that's Miami's so much more than that. It's more than what you're wearing on your wrist or what you got around your neck or what kind of car you're driving. Miami has a soul, and I feel like that soul is never gonna be able to be displayed again in the right way because of what's happening. You know, it's sad.
And I totally agree with you. And that's kind of what's, you know,
Where we're at,
it's a fucked up thing that
It
we're
sucks.
in right now, you know. But that's how we used to be, right? I used to be rolling with the chains and the, you know, and the money and this and that, and you know, because there's no money here. So you got to do something illegal to make money because there's no jobs and there's nothing here. You know what I mean? I was having this conversation yesterday with somebody. I'm like, listen, I wrote to the mayor. I'm like, bro, I love what you're doing to the city. I love your building and making all this, you know, money. But where the fuck are the jobs, bro? You know what I mean? Like, why is my family having to leave because, you know, your interest is only sold on money? You know what I mean? And I find it fucked up. And nah, yeah, man, it's sad.
crazy.
It's a sad
Situation.
story, man.
All righty, guys, we're gonna hear a word from our second sponsor, and we'll be right back to wrap up the show. Alrighty, guys, taking a quick break from the podcast to bring you a word from our sponsor, Christian J. DePaz. Appreciate him for coming through. He offers a phenomenal service. Guys, you know I'm a big promoter of entrepreneurship, owning a company, starting a business, doing your own thing, and chasing your own dreams. But as the old saying goes, takes money to make money. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Christian J. DePaz and what he does. He gets funding for new and startup businesses. Christian, tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you so much, bro, for giving us the opportunity to come inside your podcast and help more entrepreneurs start their own business or scale their current businesses. So what we do here at Secure Funding is that we'll help you acquire anywhere between $50,000 to $150,000 at 0% interest rate business credit, so that you can once again start or scale your current business. So if you come hear from our good friend Nelson, there's no other you're coming from, then we'll have him at the podcast and we'll take extra good care of you. With that being said, brother, thank you so much for bringing us on.
Of course, of course. What are you waiting for, guys? Click the link in the bio. So, Eric, all right, so let's talk about the star of the show here, Zaza. So, tell me a little bit. All right, so how'd you find him? When did you come up with the Pikachu idea? Tell me when did that? So we talked about December 2020 is when basically you had cleared 7 figures already in the business. From there, you developed the brand World Famous Puppies, right? So tell me a little bit about where you were at or how the whole concept for Zaza and the Pikachu dog came up.
Well, the concept was, you know, I had my daughter, you know, and my ex-girlfriend's son used to always talk about Pikachu, 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 Pikachu. And you know, when I started World Famous Puppies, ideally my idea was to make a world famous puppy.
Right, of course.
So I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna do that? But I'm gonna figure it out.
Right.
And I was following a groomer out in California that used to die. He used to go to the shelters, and he used to dye all the dogs that weren't unwanted, and he used to, you know, dye them and had a long line of people.
And then get them adopted.
Get them adopted.
That's pretty
and
cool.
I was pretty fascinated by that, and I was like, wow, that's pretty dope. Actually, Zaza was in the store. I was gonna sell him. Nobody wanted him, and he was all white. And yeah, I bought him in Korea, really. But then when I got him, you know, I had bought one for a celebrity called Ninette Conde. And the idea was, I said, well, I might sell them. I might keep them, for the right price. I would have sold them, they would have gave me 20 grand. So I held him as much as possible, but nobody wanted him. It was really the story. But I want you now, Zaza. Don't worry about it. The whole world wants you. So then I decided to go send him to California to get painted. And when he came back, it was a sensation. And I was like, I'm onto something. And boom, everywhere I went, it was picture. I was like, oh, shit. So I'm always wearing the world famous puppy, brand all the time. Guys, yes, you're going to see me with these purple, but I have like 50 of these purples, okay? I bought them, Dick's Sport. I got 50 purples, 50 blacks, 50 pinks, and 50 whites. And these, I probably have like 400. Shout out to Fresh Press because, I drive them crazy to print my shit all the time. And yeah, so he started going viral. So I have a best friend of mine. His name's Thomas. One day we were at Design District, and Khaled had a group of people around him. And I didn't do it intentionally. I was just wondering while the crowd was going on. I was going to get my car at the valet, and Khaled was there. And I was looking, and somebody says, oh, my God, look at the Pikachu dog. And they ran straight to me. Boom. Started taking pictures, left Khaled alone. Khaled had
nobody around.
Nobody. The dog had stolen the show. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm on to something. And Zaza, you stole the show, man. I got to give it to you. And I told Khaled, I'm like, hey, man, if you want to take a picture with him, go ahead, I kind of felt bad that Zaza had took the whole camera for himself.
Right.
So I'm like, he's like, yeah, let my wife get here. When his wife got there, she came straight to us. Look, Assad. And he went and grabbed her. He's like, come on, let's go. Now I kind of found out that the Muslims can't touch dogs for religious reasons.
Okay.
Or something like that. So I'm not going to go against Khaled or anything for that situation. I know it's a religious stuff. And then that's basically it. Then I told my boy Thomas, I'm like, listen, man, we got to go hard. This is the way I'm going to brand. I'm going to stick this big world famous puppy logo on me. I'm going to put the dog next to me, and we're going to rock this shit. And that was exactly how it was. So it was it was on December of 22. It was like December 26th. I tell my boy Thomas, I'm like, hey, man, let's go to the Heat. Let's go watch the Heat game. And I was like looking for a courtside seat ticket. I got one. So I'm like, yo, let's go, man. We're going to go courtside. And it's funny because in the video, while we're walking down the tunnel, I'm telling Zaza, I'm like, all right, Zaza, you ready? You about to go viral. And that was it, bro. We were on ESPN. We were on Hoops and Highlights. I mean, we went viral around the world. Portugal, Brazil. The next day in the morning, I get a knock on my door. I had 6 news stations standing outside of my house. I was like, oh, shit. And I didn't know it, was that.
It hit that hard.
It hit that hard. That same night, since I sell dogs, and I'm very well known in the pet industry, the inspector called me. I guess he saw me on TV. Hey, Zaza, what's going on, man? He saw me on TV. He says, I'm going to give you a fine. And I said, what you going to give me a fine? He says, first of all, you know that you shouldn't be painting dogs, which I looked at the rules. It says you're not allowed to dye dogs in Miami-Dade County. But he never said I couldn't send it out to get painted.
Exactly.
But then he showed me and says, you're not allowed to have possession of a dyed dog.
Yeah.
So in all due reality, it's illegal for him to even be here with me, right? I could get fined right now. And that's where I went viral. So then I was on Inside Edition. I was Channel 7, Channel 6, 51, 23. Then I was on, every channel. And we just became viral. And, I just kept going hard and hard and hard and hard. Once I'm in momentum, I'm in rhythm, you cannot stop me. And that was basically it. We became viral. Zaza became a star. And then, and we're still working. You know what I mean? We're still working. and he's still doing his thing. I think I tend to slack a lot because I got a lot of people that follow us, and he has a lot of fans, and maybe I tend to be that guy to be like the perfect manager for the dog celebrity slash whatever. But we're gonna do some cool stuff. We're gonna do some cool stuff. We did start a company called We Buy Houses Straight Cash. He went viral on the second video I did. We're almost at 2 million views, 116,000 likes, 110,000 shares. I mean, it went viral. I started getting calls. Hey, I want to sell my house. I want to sell my house. I mean, so now it's just like, bro, this dog is so dangerous. For branding purposes, it's just crazy. Ideally, if the dream is to strike a deal with Nintendo, see if the licensing agreement making him the official Pikachu dog is on the table, and that's where we want to be. My next step is now we're gonna insure the dog. $5 million. I'm gonna look at we're gonna search the market to see if we're gonna insure the dog and then make him the world's most famous and most expensive dog in the world. So that's the new trajectory that we got with Zaza, and he's gonna keep building companies and building brands and doing his thing.
He looks happy, that's for sure.
Yeah, he definitely is.
So Eric, it was great having you here.
Yeah,
appreciate
man.
you coming through.
Thank you.
I can't believe it's been an hour already. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, man. An hour. We could have kept going for like 2 or 3.
We could have been here all day podcasting. Yeah. Now everybody says, "Oh, Joe Rogan, I can't believe he does 3 hours." But when you sit here and you talk and you podcast, you could be here all day, bro.
No, yeah, good conversations. People like to engage in. 100%. You know what I mean? And good stories and good stuff. I mean, most definitely. I would.
Definitely.
So I appreciate you having me here. Actually, it's the first podcast I do. Everything's just been like
I got the exclusive first.
That's right.
Zaza's first podcast. What's up,
right.
Bobby? What's up, Bobby? Cute guy. So Eric, I always wrap up doing asking the same 3 questions. So the first question is, what inspires you?
I do. I inspire myself. My dreams.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I just inspire me. My daughter's a big inspiration for me. Because growing up as a poor kid, you want to make sure that your child doesn't grow up through the same thing. Of course, I'm blessed that she has a great mom too, and yeah, but really I challenge myself. It's what inspires me. I don't look outside this box. You know what I mean? It's just everything in here is what inspires me. Whatever I dream about it's got to come to reality.
It's crazy how all this was just a concept. It was just an idea you had, and then it turned into so much. I really think it's really cool how humans are the only creatures that can do that. We can take something from our mind, an idea, just something that's not even, you can't even touch it. It's not even real. It's just something you can envision in here, and you can bring it out to the real world.
Well, remember, everything was an idea. This cable, this microphone, everything was an idea. One of the biggest problems that I've seen in people is that everybody has a good idea, but nobody really executes. You get what I mean? I have so many friends of mine that have amazing ideas, but they just don't press the gas. You know what I mean? Because they're scared or whatever. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to trust yourself and your intuition. And if you fail, you're still successful. Right. Failing is part of success. So when you fail, it's just easier for you to move forward. You know what 100%. I mean? And a lot of my friends always told me, like, hey, damn, Eric, why don't you, be a motivational speaker, man? Talk to other people. I mean, your resume speaks for itself. Right now I'm helping a friend of mine that owns an airline called World Atlantic Airlines. And, now I'm all hyped up about making this airline the next Spirit. It's a challenge for me. You know what I mean? It's a fun project, and we've been discussing it over for a few years. And, that's just another little thing to put on there. I mean, it would be amazing if I could make the next Spirit airline or better. You know what I mean?
100%.
Just to sit there and to say, bro, this guy built this company, whether it's not mine or not, but just to be able to let the dream just flow out and give the concept is good enough for me.
Definitely. So, second question: what's next for you?
I don't know what's next. I kind of just I don't shoot at everything. So I kind of just I bunker up and I just peep. People know what's next for you when you see things when things flow and
When
they
things
go,
make sense. Yeah.
No, you'll feel it. Because sometimes you try to do things and they just like, God damn,
It
even
doesn't-
though
it's-
that you want to do it so bad, it just doesn't work. You get what I mean? It just doesn't happen. So you never know, and you can never say, well, what's next? You never know, bro. I mean, yeah, it's just crazy. One thing that I do is I open every door. If it's jammed, I just let it go. If it's jammed, there's gonna be one door that you open and you're just gonna walk through. But you need to, that goes back to your intuition. Your intuition's gonna tell you, that gut feeling's gonna tell you, say, hey,
This is it.
this is it. When you learn how to understand your thoughts and understand your intuition of how to achieve what then you're gonna know what's next. So there's a lot of things that's next, but sometimes no se da, man. So well, you'll know. You'll know. You'll see what's next.
And then the last question: how do you want to be remembered when you're not here anymore?
As a very unique human being. I want to be remembered as a very unique person, as a very good, humble, loving human being, and smart, and something that people will be like, damn, I learned so much from Eric, which I'm very proud of. I've made a lot of people successful in life, and I'm proud of the things that I've done and things that I've helped people out to accomplish in life. Really, it's just about pushing, and calls, and I want that to always be remembered about me and say, man, Eric, he was just a different guy. He was just that different person.
I know what you mean. For me, my life's goal is to accumulate as much good karma as I can. Yeah. And eventually, when I die, that good karma is gonna get released back into the world. It's like I'm gonna build it up in my soul, and then when I die, it's like this big burst of big positive energy is just gonna blow up in the world. So I feel you on that 100%.
Yeah. You want to leave that good energy behind.
Definitely.
Most definitely.
So Zaza, I'll see you later. Thank you for coming to the show, Papi. Good boy. We're such a good boy.
Zaza, say bye. Say bye to everybody. Say over there, Zaza, over there. Hey, at least he tries. You know what I mean?
Alrighty, guys. So appreciate you tuning in. This is another episode of Montana Method Podcast. Special guest Eric from World Famous Puppies and Zaza, the world famous Pikachu dog. As always, push it to the limit. The world is yours. And if you are not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, guys. See you on the next one. Say goodnight to the bad guy.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came